Welcome into a special bonus edition of the Section YY8 podcast. I'm Negative Niece. We are currently on our summer break. There's no Tennessee sports really going on currently. Harb and I are going to take a few weeks off, plan up, get ready for the fall. Football season's not far off. We'll come back in August sometime. Get you guys prepared with some new episodes for the football season coming up. But in the meantime, what we wanted to do is go back and record or post some of the old episodes that we'd recorded. We've gained some new listeners over the years, and maybe you guys weren't around back then listening to the show. If you'll remember, several weeks ago, 3 months ago now, we were locked out of our Spotify account because Ashley from the music industry decided to file a complaint, or hell, I don't know, she maybe filed a lawsuit against us. I've never heard anything else about it. But we played some music, apparently illegally, on a couple of episodes, and they locked us out. So lost some of those older episodes, but lucky for you guys, I had saved them, and so we're going to start reposting them, some of them this summer, to fill the gap until the new season starts. So hope you guys enjoy this one. It's got a couple blasts from the past in it. Gavin and Big Montana. They make an appearance on this episode way back in 2021. So to set the table, this episode comes from March 13th, 2021. It was titled, Vols Come Up Short Against Bama. This was, I believe, the Saturday of the SEC basketball tournament. It was the semifinals. Tennessee lost to Bama 73-68. What makes it extra spicy is Tennessee was up at one point 48-33 in the second half. So they basically got outscored 40-20 to end the game. So you'll hear a lot of different stories. Big Montana goes on and on that Rick Barnes is a good coach, but he just won't ever be able to get Tennessee past the first round or the second round of the NCAA tournament. Well, boy, was that wrong. Back-to-back Elite Eights over the last couple years, multiple Sweet 16s over the last 4 and 5 years has proved that to be totally off base and wrong. You'll hear some interesting background noise at Gavin's house, so be sure to listen to the entire episode. There's a lot going on here, and it was fun. I went back and listened to it a couple weeks ago when I was putting some of these together to push out, and I laughed because I had forgotten a lot that we talked about and what it sounded like and everything back then. So this came from when we were on podbean.com. That was the host site for the podcast, and they had a feature on there where you could go live and have callers call in. So on this, Big Montana and Gavin have called in, and I'm hosting it. They have called in, and I don't remember how many people were listening that day. It tracked how many were listening to us live that day, but was able to record it and publish it and put it out there. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We're going to do several of these here over the next few weeks as we get it before we get into August. Some interviews that we've done with some guys in the past that, again, some of y'all may not have heard, but anyways, we're going to try to post those out. A real quick update from last week's show. Harb and I talked about our biggest storyline of the summer for Tennessee athletics. Harb, and he makes himself look good here, Harb chose the quarterback battle for Tennessee this summer was his biggest storyline. I chose the Sakai Ziegler lawsuit. Well, literally just hours after we posted and published the episode last week, Sakai Ziegler's preliminary injunction was denied by the courts here in East Tennessee. He has since, as of this afternoon, Tuesday, June 17th, filed another request to have this heard. I guess he's he's filed an appeal on this. So be sure to stay tuned to that. My biggest storyline of the summer was shot down pretty quickly, but now it's resurfaced, so we'll see where that goes. But anyways, hope you guys enjoy this week's bonus edition of the Section YY8 podcast. Remember, if you're listening to us on the YouTube channel, that you can find us on the audio version. If you're driving in your truck or at work and can't watch the YouTube channel, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or anywhere you get podcasts. Just search for Section YY8 Podcast. If you're listening to us on the audio version, be sure to check us out on the YouTube channel. Get on there and subscribe if you haven't already. We need more subscribers. Like, comment, share, even if the show sucks. Get on there and comment. Tell us how you feel about it. Help that algorithm get going. Also, you can find us on social media. We're on X or Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Just look for Section YY8. Well, without further ado, here's this week's bonus episode of the Section YY8 podcast, coming to you all the way back from March 13th, 2021. Vols come up short against Bama. Hope you guys enjoy it. We're live here on the Section YY8 podcast after the Tennessee-Alabama SEC semifinal game. We'll try to keep this short and sweet, but wanted to get Gavin on here to talk about the game. We've never done one of these right after a game before, but weather's not great outside, nothing to do. So let's talk Tennessee basketball. Tennessee loses to Alabama 73-68 in the SEC semifinal game in Nashville. Tennessee at one point led 48-33. Bama ends up going on a 40-20 run to end the game. Bama's tough, made some plays, especially on the defensive end later on in the second half, really made Tennessee uncomfortable. Tennessee's depth or lack of depth showed up in the second half with Fulkerson out, and Tennessee just wasn't able to make plays down the stretch. Alabama, give them credit. They made plays there at the end of the game, and they went very few possessions. I would have to look it up. They went very few possessions there at the end of the game without empty possessions, I guess. They had that one where Gaines got the rebound, had to go to the foul line, and that was kind of unfortunate that he got that at that time. But Bama, give them credit; they made some plays there at the end. We're joined on the show right now joined live by Gavin. He's on the other end. I think he's on there. Gavin, are you there?
Oh yeah, I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if it said you entered and left, so I didn't know what was going on. So
it wasn't picking up my calls. I don't know why.
I got you. So I just mentioned Tennessee lost to Bama 73-68. What was your thoughts on the game overall?
I'm mad. We should have beat them.
Tennessee had them. Tennessee played really well, had them led most of the game. Bama was up 2-1, I think, early on, they said. But Tennessee, especially in the first half on the offensive end, I thought really dictated the game to Alabama. But Alabama in the second half really turned it up a notch defensively, I thought.
Yeah. They definitely did. They did a really good job of coming out and basically attacking Vescovi is what I saw. A lot of. They kind of picked us apart, spread us thin. Urosh had a decent game.
What about Urosh coming and playing he played, where are the minutes? It doesn't have it listed yet. He played a bunch of minutes today and yesterday too.
He played really good today. I was very surprised.
He got out on a fast break at one point and had a fast break dunk.
Yeah. Where's that been all year?
Yeah. I think Tennessee's lack of depth caught up with him today without having Fulkerson after the cheap shot that's knocked him out maybe for the rest of the year. But Tennessee's lack of depth really hurt him today, especially when James got in trouble. They were having to go to Vescovi more. And then there at the end of the game, I think they brought in Gaines for a defensive replacement. Mm-hmm. And, of course, the ball always finds you. It doesn't matter what sport you play. The ball always finds you. And the ball bounced right to him. He got fouled. I actually didn't think he got fouled. I thought he walked. But he got fouled, had to go to the line, hadn't played, stepped on the court in 2 hours and missed 2 free throws. I wish he would have found a way to make one of them. But that was a very tough spot for him. But I thought Alabama's bench, Tennessee had 8 points off the bench, and that was 4 from Bailey and 4 from Plavich, or however you say his name. And then Bama had 19, 28, and they had 31 off the bench. So Bama's bench, they're a little deeper than Tennessee right now. And not having Fulkerson, I think, that's not totally the reason, but it didn't help.
Right. For our bench being small, who do you blame?
Well, it's like I said, Fulkerson not being there hurt. And, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. There's been some misses on the recruiting trail. There's been some transfers. And when that happens, you have a shorter bench. And I think early on in the year, Tennessee was pretty deep. And you thought, like, man, we could go 10 deep. But by the end of the year, and the benches always shrink when you get to this time of year. But there also comes a time when you run into foul trouble and injuries, and Tennessee got in both. They had injury troubles with Fulkerson. They had foul troubles with Vescovi and James today, and they just didn't have anybody behind them right now. They just don't.
Yeah. I just wanted a little.
You're trying to get me to blame Barnes.
I want a slight bit. I want you to just say a little bit of it is his fault.
No, that is his fault. He's the head coach. He recruits, and he's not, like we said a couple weeks ago, he's not done a good job with, especially down in the post, recruiting that position, especially after he lost Burns and Walker a couple years ago. He's just not filled it up, to be honest. Turnovers today were terrible for Tennessee. I think we had 20 turnovers.
I thought last time I looked it was 19, but I'll trust you.
Let's see. Yeah, we had 19 turnovers, but Alabama had 17.
Right.
But Tennessee had more points off of turnovers. At one point we had 24. They had 10. I don't know what the final total ended up being, but I thought Tennessee, I don't know if they necessarily played good defense, but they got a little fortunate. Alabama only shot 25% from three-point range. They were 7 of 28 from three-point range. Tennessee was 7 of 21, so we weren't much better. Bama didn't shoot very good from the field. They were 25 of 67 for 37%. Tennessee was 41%. But I think I told somebody this earlier this morning. I thought the keys of the game for Tennessee, they had to rebound. Mm-hmm. Alabama out-rebounded us by 4, so not awful.
What about halftime? Do you know that? Because we had a lead by 9, right? At half.
Yes. Or are you asking about what we had at halftime?
Yeah, I didn't know if you had those right in front of you.
I don't have that in front of me. Okay. I don't know what we were doing at halftime, but I thought Tennessee just turned the ball over too much. I thought we had to out rebound Alabama, which limits their possessions, and they did okay with that. But I don't know, Alabama turned the ball over 17 times. We just had too many turnovers. And a lot of them were unforced. I remember one in the second half where Keon Johnson just threw the ball. He thought Victor Bailey was going to be at the 3-point line, and Victor Bailey cut to the basket, and Johnson just threw it out of bounds. Yeah. And Springer had some weird turnovers. Vescovi had some weird turnovers. You can't do that this time of year. You cannot have 19 turnovers. If we have 10 turnovers, I think we win that game.
Yeah.
I think that was the key to the game today, was the turnovers for Tennessee, and that allowed Alabama to stay in the game.
Yeah, I definitely can't. I can't disagree with that. The one that kept getting me was when they were running on a 12-0 run. I know we texted about this for a half a second, but
right.
Might as well bring it up.
Yeah, bring it up.
I thought Barnes should have called the timeout, and you said that we got a TV timeout in that.
Yes, because I remember when they were on like an 8-0 run, I think, or 6 or 8-0 run, I can't remember, and there was a TV timeout, and I looked at Cruz and I said, good, there's a TV timeout to help stopped it because I think Barnes was waiting to get to the TV timeout. Well, then they came out and it was a slowly went up to 12-0 run.
Right.
And then he called a timeout. So that was what my thinking was he got that timeout with the TV timeout.
I got you. I don't know. I mean, we can just pick through everything that happened in the game, but I don't know what it's going to help. It's not going to help me feel any better about it. I still feel like we should have won.
Tennessee definitely. I mean, I think those two teams are – I know Tennessee was a 4 seed and Alabama's a 1 seed. Alabama's a top 10 team in the country. It was two good teams playing each other, and I thought Bama was just a little bit tougher down the stretch. I mean, did you think that, or did Tennessee just choke?
I think Tennessee choked. It's just hard for me. Like, of course, the other team has to play well to get on a run, but at some point, I believe it was Tennessee's fault for blowing it. So
yeah, I thought Tennessee in the second half wasn't very good offensively, and this has been a theme for this team all year long. Is they just go into these stretches where they can't score, and they didn't necessarily go into a long drought today where they couldn't score, but they let Alabama creep back in. I mean, a 12-0 run, there was no answer for that. There finally was. I think Vescovi hit a couple free throws to kind of quieten that down, but they just offensively they go into these droughts, and second half it was hard for Tennessee to get anything going, and they couldn't go to the basket either. I thought the referees they took a lot of, and they were calling it on both ends, but I thought they took a lot away from Tennessee because a lot of Tennessee's offense is Springer and Johnson one-on-one trying to break people down off the dribble. And then they got so trigger happy calling charges. I thought that took a lot away from Tennessee, just being honest. I mean, I just thought it took a lot away from the Vols.
Yeah, I think I don't know how many charges were called, but I would say it's probably near the top.
God, it was a bunch. And they've been doing this the whole tournament. Yeah. I mean, not just in this game, but last night, the Missouri-Ole Miss game, there were so many offensive fouls called. And I get some of them were. I mean, there were several today on Alabama that those guys were going down the lane with their arms extended. But, yeah, there was so many offensive fouls. They basically – man, it was tough to watch. What do you think about Tennessee subbing in Gaines there at the end of the game on that defensive possession?
I don't know of anybody that would have been really great in that situation, given what Gaines – I mean, Gaines was sitting there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he warmed up. Like,
I mean, the only time he was out on the court was when they were going through a layup line.
Yeah. It's just –
but
it's crummy. That's a crummy spot to be in.
And it was awesome, though, because he made a stop. He helped make that stop on defense and got the rebound. And I don't think he got fouled, to be honest. I was saying this before you got on. I thought he walked. But it sucked because you're cold, you're coming off the bench, and he got fouled. Yeah. And then he didn't go down and make 2 free throws. Just absolutely.
He didn't even make one of them. That was the rough part. I mean,
yeah.
You think a Division I athlete would go down and make at least a free throw, you know? But
yeah, I mean, you're a D1 player. You got to make a free throw, but it is a very tough spot for him. I thought he did well. I thought it was a good sub. I was talking to Cruz that was here watching it with me, and I said, wow, Gaines is in the game? And he looked at me. We both looked at each other at the same time and said defense, because he always has been really pesky defensively.
Right.
And I thought that was a good move on that part, but it stunk because if you get a stop, which you hope you get, then you're playing 4-on-5 offense because he brings nothing to the table offensively.
Right.
All right. Go ahead, caller. What do you got for us?
What do you say, fellers?
What's up, man?
Oh, just sitting here.
Oh, man. What a frustrating loss that was.
Tough loss for the Vols. What's your thoughts on the game, Big Montana? We're joined on the hotline by Big Montana.
Man, I think the Vols, they should have won that game. You're up double digits in the second half, And I know the referees started calling some stuff here and there. I agree with you. There was at least 10 offensive charges in that game, right? Close to 10. In the first half, there was I know Florida had 3 right off the bat, it seemed like, while I was listening on the radio.
Oh, it was a ton. I don't know how many. I'm trying to find it. It was a lot.
It was several. Man, I kind of feel bad for Gaines for being put in that situation, and I do agree with you, Niece, about him, getting the block or the rebound, well, whatever you want to call it. But I also feel like, and I text you this, if you're a D1 college basketball player and you can't go up there and knock down a free throw, I just don't know what to tell you, man. I know he's cold, and I know
especially a guard.
But man, how many shots these guys get up in a week? It's not like they haven't touched a basketball in 2 years. Is Gavin on the side of 640 doing his
Gavin, are you standing on the side of the road?
No, I'm inside.
I just heard a car drive by.
It sounded like an 18-wheeler drive by with a Jake brake.
I'm going to drive over to Gavin's and make sure he's not standing in the road. It's okay, Gavin. Tennessee's still – the season's not over, Gavin.
Gavin, don't jump. It's not worth it.
I'm at the Henry
It's not worth
I'm about to jump in.
Gavin's over here on I think Gavin's over here on what's this road over here next to me where the bridge goes over the interstate, Union Street or Union Road or whatever.
It sounds like he's over there off Boyd's Creek. Goodness gracious.
Gavin, Gavin, what Devonta Gaines is a guard. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's fine.
Barnes has a quote here I just saw. Where'd it go? We put him in to play great post defense, and he did. We knew he would guard Herb Jones, and he did 4 different times in that one possession. We all feel bad for him. I'm proud of him for going in there and doing what we asked him to do. I just thought it was unfortunate that he did what he was supposed to do, and he sucks offensive. There's no other way back. The guy can't. He shot a 3 in one game I went to earlier this year at Thompson Bowling, and it barely grazed the rim. He's awful.
Who shot our last shot for 3? Was that Bailey or Springer?
Was Victor Bailey. I went back and watched it. It looked like what Tennessee had set up was for Vescovi to drive the lane and try to collapse the defense, which I don't really quite get because why would you collapse? One person that's over 6'5" can guard him. But it looked like they were trying to get Vescovi to drive and dish it out to Bailey and then either try to get him to shoot a shot or get the rotation moving around. Of course, he took 2 steps and passed it out, and it was a terrible pass. Bailey didn't catch it. He caught it one-handed. It was not – I almost would have called another timeout if I was Barnes because it looked like they got out of sync. There's no way that's what they drew up in the huddle. There's just no way.
I almost think with 13 seconds left and you're down 3, obviously you want a chance to be able to get a rebound and kick it back out, but you don't leave Alabama time to get at the court or get fouled or something too. I just don't think that – I don't know. That whole offensive possession just looked like dog shit. And I don't know. I think if we could go back and run that, we would have done 10 different things before we did that again. But another thing I feel like other teams have caught on, if Vescovi's in the game and you get the ball and it's one-on-one, drive to the basket. You're going to get fouled and you're probably going to score also. And I kind of feel like in the tournament, with 10 minutes left, we just need to let Keon run point and put Vescovi on the bench and give us a better chance of not giving up easy baskets towards the end of the game. I think they
need to leave Vescovi in, but take him off of the ball. They were Bama was coming up and setting a high ball screen with Herb Jones or one of the other post players, and they were getting Vescovi in a mismatch.
Well,
and there was no chance.
He was down there, at the bottom of the, he was playing around the basket. And he was guarding, and they got 3 or 4 fouls or 2 or 3 fouls called on the guy and he was just playing way out of position. And and I will say this, man, Euros played a great game. I don't think we could ask. We can't ask for more because he's like 7'9", but like his defense today, and I think he had 4 points, but his defense and him crashing the boards really put us in a having a good chance to win that game.
What do you think about Euros, Gavin?
He played great. I thought where has that been all year?
Well, he hasn't got a chance because he's over there walking 10 miles a game back and forth watching.
He's been the best cheerleader we got.
I was going to say watching Fulkerson average 4 or 5 points a game.
Yeah, he played well. He was asked to do a lot more today than he was yesterday. I thought he played really well. I was trying to look it up here, see how many minutes he played. They still haven't posted that on what I'm looking at. But he was out there. I said to Cruz today, he ate up a ton of minutes on the court.
It was at least 20 minutes, right?
I would assume.
Yeah.
And
he's just so, and I think it's just his size. He's so unathletic, but the guy was hustling. And I think that covers up, that can cover up a lot of your, lack of athleticism. But, I just feel like the guy needs to crash some more offensive boards, 6, 8, 10 points a game. I don't think that's unreasonable to ask of somebody that size.
No. Yeah, and he's going to have to play more next year.
Yeah.
He's got to get better. I cannot find – they haven't posted the minutes for either team on what I'm looking at. I don't know why. So Pons today had 2 blocks, 7 points. Vescovi had 11 points, 3 of 6 from three-point range. That's what I was talking about the other night. That guy made some shots today and gave Tennessee a chance. Keon Johnson had 20 points, but he had 16 in the first half. I thought he vanished. He just didn't do anything in the second half. Springer, 18 points. Good game from him. And Josiah Jordan-James, 4 points. Where was he at today, Gavin? Is Gavin still there?
Gavin may have jumped.
Gavin, I hope you haven't. It says he's connected.
R.I.P. in peace.
Dear
Gavin.
Lord. Good grief, everybody. Gavin, if you're out there, don't let me know where you're at. Text me and let me know where you're at, and I'll come pick you up.
Text a buddy, Gavin.
Text a buddy, Gavin. Shit.
I got Josiah, I feel like in the first half and at the beginning of the second half, man, we had a lot of shots that were falling. He just got in foul trouble, it seemed, and that really, I think with 5 minutes left in the game, he sat right. He got his fourth foul, and I think that hurt us a little bit defensively. And it takes away, I know he didn't score much today, but, he's an offensive threat too. But I really think that Keon Johnson got tired towards the end. Of course, I guess he played the entire game, it seemed like. But I think he got kind of gassed, and I don't know, man. I just hate it. We didn't lose that game because of Gaines. I won't put that on him. But, it would have been nice if he could have tied the game at least to give us a chance to, not have to foul there and just play it out, basically. But our turnovers, man, and you might disagree with me, and I feel the same way in football, man. I think if you're turning the ball over in football, it's on the players, but I think in the grand scheme of things, it's on. I don't know if it's all on Barnes, but you got to coach these guys up to where they're not making these stupid mistakes. And I know a lot of it is youth, and a lot of it is just the way the season's played out. I'm sure, with COVID and everything, they didn't get to have the same amount of practices. I'm sure there's special rules for practices, and, I don't know how much of practice is actually in the gym and not, Zoom meetings and BS like that. But it's just so frustrating that little things like free throws and turnovers have plagued this team and not necessarily anything else. That's really frustrating. But on the other hand, the SEC has gotten so much better in the past 2 years. Alabama's a force now. Auburn, of course, is not postseason eligible, but they're a hot team normally. Missouri's hot this year. Ole Miss caught fire. Georgia kind of caught fire. Arkansas is on fire. Kentucky's always going to be Kentucky. They'll be right back in the driver's seat next year. Florida, probably the same thing. So the days of us just kind of making it to play on Sunday and being top 1 or 2 in the SEC, we're going to have to fight for it now, more so than just kind of go through the motions and win 22 ball games a year and be there when March hits. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, the SEC, it's it's not the Big 10 or the Big 12 top to bottom, but
No.
I was telling Cruz before he left that there's really not a whole lot of difference in these top 4 teams in the conference. Alabama, Tennessee, LSU, and Arkansas this year are pretty even for the most part.
You could even argue 5 and 6 are up there too. It's definitely anybody can beat anybody any night right now. But it's just frustrating because you have all these preseason hot videos and, it's just people were saying that, this was going to be a Final Four team or Elite Eight team. And I didn't really buy into that just because we were going to be so young. But, you hear about these guys. Well, these 2 guys, they're going to be NBA lottery picks. And, you just kind of get your hopes up. And then Kentucky starts out so shitty and you're like, oh, dang, this is our year. And then it just seems like since that first Alabama game in the regular season, the wheels just kind of slowly started to wear and fall off, it seemed like. But I don't know. That's why you play the season, I guess.
Yeah, I think besides Gonzaga, all of our teams all the college basketball teams have been like that this year. It's just about getting hot at the right time. I think Tennessee's playing a lot better than they were 2 weeks ago, which is a good sign heading into the tournament.
I do too. I think we got a good chance of making the Sweet 16. I saw somewhere last week where they kind of had us matched up the first round against UNC.
Yeah, so I'm looking at it right here. This was as of what is today? Okay, March 13th. This was 2:15 this morning. Joe Lenardi, one of the hardest working men this time of year.
Yes. God bless him.
God bless Joe Lenardi. So Tennessee, after they lost to Auburn, he had them as a 7 seed. They didn't play all last week, beat Florida on Sunday, came back, didn't play until yesterday, beat Florida again. He's got us as a 5 seed. Now, wow. This isn't count today's game. So He's got us in a 5 seed against Winthrop. The 1 seed in that bracket is Baylor. So if we got to the Sweet 16, the 4 seed in that bracket would be Virginia. So we could end up potentially in the Sweet 16 would be Baylor. I'm sorry, I looked at that wrong. The 5-4 game, which would be a second round game, would be against Virginia. Who knows if they're even going to play? But right now, he's got Tennessee as a 5 seed. I thought if they won today, that they could have solidified a 5 seed, and if they had won yesterday, they could have moved into a 4 seed possibly.
I think 5 is probably our max, and I won't be surprised to see us as a 6. I think they're going
to give us a 5 or a 6, but I'm leaning more toward a 5. I was looking at we talked about it on our show a couple days ago. The net ranking Tennessee had was 18, which is really high, but the pollsters didn't have Tennessee in the top 25.
Right.
I'm trying to pull up the net rankings. I don't know if they've updated them since we recorded on Thursday, but yeah, that's top 18. You're looking at a top 4 or 5 seeds right there. Okay, they've got us at 14 as of games through March 12th, which would have been yesterday. So Tennessee was number 14 in the net rankings. So that's pretty good. I think.
I won't reveal his name, but I just got a text. and he is avid UT basketball fan. 2 timeouts in the final 30 seconds, and the best look you get is 1 in 5 Bailey. I guess he was 1 for 5 today on a fadeaway. That's just pitiful coaching. That lost the game.
I thought Barnes should have called another timeout there.
He didn't have another one.
Oh, he was out on that last shot?
Gavin's alive, baby.
Gavin's there. Where have you been, Gavin?
My phone muted, and I was talking. I mean, I was rambling. I was like, man, they can't hear a word I'm saying. Why are they talking?
Gavin. Well, so what were you saying?
I don't know. Stuff. I went on a tangent there for a minute, and I was like, yeah, I'll teach them. And then nothing came of it, so we're cool. Yeah.
Oh, so you got all of it out. So they say, like, this after you say something, the next time you talk, you talk a little more rationally. So did you hear anything we were talking about, and you want to comment on it?
No
Come
comment.
on, Gavin.
Fire Barnes.
Huh, Gavin. In the words of Mike Dowling, Gavin, honey. I know you're mad, Gavin. You were texting me earlier. Come on.
I'm mad.
We're 34 minutes in here. Get pissed off.
What's the point?
I'm not mad. Okay,
we're
look.
Keep Barnes forever until he retires.
Okay,
and we're just
look.
going to be regular season Rick until he gets done, and then we can try to make a run whenever he retires. What's the point?
So
who cares?
I want to say this. I heard this on another podcast last week. He said that UT fans were in purgatory right now with Rick Barnes. Said that he's going to do just enough to make the tournament every year. He might get you to the Sweet 16, but he's not going to do anything more or anything less. And, man, I kind of thought that was accurate a little bit. I think Rick Barnes is a great basketball coach. Mm-hmm. I think he is a Hall of Famer. I think that he's going to hit 800 wins. I think he's going to hit 800 wins at UT. But I don't really think he's going to win any championships here. And I don't know.
I think he can win an SEC title, but I don't think he'd ever win a national title. I don't know that he can get us to a Final Four even.
No.
I'll have to see it to believe it.
But I kind of feel like Nice, when he was hired, it was probably the best thing that we could get in the situation we were in. But I think Tennessee now, I mean, unless we just go the complete opposite way, there's a bunch of coaches out there that I think would come to Tennessee, especially your Seton Halls, your, Texas Tech. I really do feel like Tennessee is a great job in college basketball again. I think there's a lot of coaches that would come here now that will, have that run and gun type offense that's needed now. I think Rick is in the same situation that Philip Fulmer was in 2006 or 7, where he had been to the mountaintop, kind of won all these games, did a great job, but the game just passed him up. And great coaches that are next level, like Nick Saban and, Dabo Sweeney, whatever, Urban Meyer, they were able to develop and change their offensive schemes to be able to still be dominant. And I think that's what Rick lacks. But when you got a guy that's won 720-something games, how are you going to tell him to change? You know what I mean?
Yeah, what do you think about that, Gavin?
Well, the difference between Barnes and Philip Fulmer is Philip Fulmer actually made it to the tippy top. Barnes hadn't made it to the tippy top.
Second round Rick.
He had the greatest scorer probably of my generation, Kevin Durant, and he got bounced by USC. I'm mad. So let's keep it going.
Fire Rick Barnes.
So
I mean, what's the point? If you who cares if you just get a regular season championship? You're not going to win the SEC championship. You're not going to go win the NCAA championship. What's the point? Why play?
I actually put more stock. I know a lot of people, I go against the grain on this comment, because basketball is a tournament sport. I actually put more stock into winning the regular season than I do the tournament because you play everybody. And you've gone a round robin season and you've played everybody and you had the best record. Regular season title, who cares? You won the SEC. But it is a tournament sport. I get that. And
I was going to say, they remember you for what you do in March.
Correct. And Tennessee hasn't won one of these since 1979. I saw a tweet. I don't know if he ever listened to this.
Hasn't won what?
SEC tournament title since 1979. Tennessee has not. Bruce Pearl got us there 1 year, and we lost.
I thought they won the SEC in like the 2000s.
We won the regular season. We have not won a tournament title since 1979. Bruce Pearl got us there in was that 9 or 10 against Mississippi State? Gavin, do you remember?
9.
2009. Okay. And we should have won that game. It was whenever it was in Tampa. I'm trying to look it up here. Sorry. Yeah, it was 2009. Mississippi State. Rick Stansbury beat Tennessee. I remember it was a really tight game, back and forth. Tennessee that year was 10-6 in the conference. Was the 1 seed out of that was when they had divisions. The East Division. Mississippi State was the 3 seed out of the West. Where is the bracket? Mississippi State won 64-61. Tennessee beat Alabama in the quarterfinals, Auburn in the semifinals, and then lost to Mississippi State. What I was about to say was Harbin, I don't know if he ever listens to this. I wish he would, because I think he'd be a good caller, especially on a Saturday night. He tweeted, "That one hurt, period, a lot." I guess I've been around the block and seen Tennessee lose a bunch of games. Like, I was disappointed we lost, but I've had a lot of other losses that hurt a lot more than that one today.
Definitely. I don't get too worked up over basketball, guys.
I do. I mean, basketball is my favorite sport. It's my favorite sport overall.
I've made the comment that if our football team could average 10 wins a season, I would help tear down the basketball arena. I think that's true.
I would do something, yeah.
I want all of our sports to be good. I'm an overall.
There's not a single reason in the world that the University of Tennessee, with the money, the fans, and the stadiums or whatever you want to call it, cannot be competitive to win national titles in every sport. No questions asked.
Yeah. I mean, look at Tennessee's basketball facilities. I mean, we've got a 21,000-seat arena. We've got a state-of-the-art practice facility. I mean, we've got everything we need to compete for SEC titles and to be one of the top 16 to 32 teams in the nation, which I think they are right now. I think Tennessee, going into the tournament next week, is one of the top 32 teams in the country. And that means they're playing in the second round. They should win that first round game, and then it gets a little murky after that. But I think Tennessee's one of the top 32 programs at the least, maybe top 20 in the country right now. I think overall, as a program, they're way better than top 32. But as a team this season, they're top 32. Agreed.
But, with our fan base and how much we care, I mean, dude, if they would allow it, our softball team would have a packed stadium right now on a gloomy, rainy Saturday in March. I mean, that's just how much people care about Tennessee sports. And it's not just parents either. Like, you go to some games and it's just the parents and family there. Like, there are a lot of people that care about all kinds of Tennessee sports. So it's just frustrating, man. And I hope our new athletic director and people we have in power now kind of change the culture. We just have this losers mentality, I think, with football, and basketball's kind of been higher in the past few years. But it's time for us to get back to the top of the SEC and get back to the top of the nation in our sporting events.
I think Tennessee plays in all sports. They play a little scared sometimes. That kind of went away with Bruce Pearl a little bit in basketball, but we get this complex of like, okay, we're winning, but we got to do this or we'll blow it. Instead of going out and just like, hey, we're going to do this and we're going to win. I think that goes. It's just in all sports because we've been so bad for the last 15 years.
I saw a thing on Twitter the other day. It said, I'm going to tell my grandkids these three coaches were at UT at the same time and they won't believe me. And it was a picture of Lane Kiffin, Pat Summitt, and Bruce Pearl. And I was like,
you know what bothered me about that?
What have we done?
You know what bothered me about that picture? Is Pat Summitt was the smallest picture on there, and they had Bruce Pearl and Lane Kiffin in bigger pictures. That really bothered me.
Yeah.
Because Pat Summitt needs to be front and center, and then Bruce and Lane. Lane needs to be the smallest one, then Bruce right up there.
I agree.
If anybody out there is listening live and you want to call in, we've got a few listeners on. Feel free to call into the show. Whoever PBG9D025, whatever all these letters are. If you're out there listening, you want to call in, feel free to call in. I'm sure we're getting close to wrapping up. We've been going for 45 minutes, Gavin. Is Gavin still there?
Solid 20.
You got what?
I've been on for a solid 20.
Do you have another 20 in you?
Sure.
Gavin's like Euros today. He hasn't played the whole game, but he's had some meaningful minutes.
Hey, it's Saturday of conference tournament season. Everybody's tired. I watched basketball till after midnight last night.
Nice.
I went back and watched film of the Florida Tennessee game before the game today. Did a little,
What'd you draw out of that?
I drew out that we're better than Florida, that's for sure. Let's talk about that Florida game yesterday, by the way, and what a cheap shot that was from that guy, Omar Payne, for Florida. What a low-down, cheap shot that was. I know he reached out to Fulkerson and apologized, and good for him, but his ass needs to be set for a long time for that.
Am I still on here?
Yeah,
yes.
Oh, great. Omar Payne's a punk bitch. And
there you go.
They should have caught up with him in the locker room and took a lead pipe to his ass. That's just the way I feel about it.
They should have went Tanya Harding on him.
I was waiting a WWE moment and for Fulkerson to come around the curtain with a steel chair and just lay his ass out, but it never happened.
Dude, Fulkerson's eye today, God almighty. And I didn't notice this, and I saw it on Twitter at halftime, and then they zoomed in on him. He had damn earplugs in because of the concussion.
Right.
He's got a concussion. I haven't said it.
Evans or somebody would have just laid Payne out in that game, and we got just ejected from the entire tournament, and we weren't allowed to play anymore. I would have been totally fine with that. I really
happy.
I really wish somebody would have just haymakered his ass right there at midcourt, just for the world to see, because that he tried to go for his face, but I felt like he got him in the throat on the first forearm. And then when he threw that second one, man, it caught him right in the temple. Dude, he could have died from that.
Yeah.
I mean
that shit you see in WWE, UFC, ECW.
Well, it's illegal to do that in the UFC. You're not allowed to go for the temple like that.
What a low down, and that's typical Florida. I can't stand Florida. I hate them. Good riddance.
I mentioned it earlier to you, but I wonder if Fulkerson has grounds for a lawsuit over that. I
don't know. That's always come up in sports when things like this happen, but you never really see it. But
I mean,
I don't know.
To me, that's the same thing as for a player being on the ground with their helmet off and somebody step on their face,
Yeah, Albert Haynesworth.
Exactly, or the Myles Garrett and or was it Myles Garrett and the
yes
Pittsburgh Steelers backup quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I think he has grounds for a lawsuit there. I mean, you can't say that it wasn't intentional, but I don't know. I guess the University of Tennessee. Hey, what's going on?
Oh, we've got some little listeners on the line, Gavin.
huge fans of the show. They listen.
They're
to
not.
it weekly.
They're not upset that Tennessee lost.
No, they're ready for Disney
I'm
Plus.
upset for them.
They don't know yet, Gavin. They haven't
seen the mediocrity that we have.
They haven't been through the ringers like we have.
Go watch TV, hon. Daddy's in the office.
All right, Gavin.
Teach them to cheer for Crimson Red.
Yeah.
They're
all right.
winning everything. Gaw.
Hey,
John Fulkerson, if he was in blue, if he was in Kentucky blue, whoever, I mean, they could have done a quarter of what that dude did. But they would have been suspended all of next year, and their family couldn't attend SEC events.
No, that's exact. I mean,
you just got to play it.
Do you think the SEC is going to do anything to that guy?
Absolutely not.
I don't see, he cannot play in the NCAA tournament.
Oh,
he cannot.
What I coach, what's his name?
Mike White.
Yes.
The brother of our athletics director, Daniel White.
It was almost like after he did it, I felt like Barnes would have jumped whoever's rear end it was, but he kind of patted him on the chest and told him to go to the locker room. I kind of felt like it almost was like he was there to do his dirty work in a way.
He's, he's one of their players, which we lost a lot when Fulkerson went out. They didn't lose as much, but shit, Gavin, why are you so quiet?
Come
on, Gavin.
Flight, and I'm flying high.
All right, Gavin.
Don't jump, Gavin.
Gavin, I think he's back in his house. I haven't heard any tractor trailers drive by in the last 20 minutes. All right, Gavin, looking ahead to the NCAA tournament, what is your outlook for Tennessee basketball?
Bounced in the second round.
So you think Tennessee wins? You think Tennessee wins on Friday? So the tournament this year is going to be a little different. Let me pull up the schedule. I think the first four is on Wednesday and Thursday because they play two games. Sorry, I think it's on Thursday. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Friday will be bounce.
And then Friday's the first round, or technically the second round. All right, here's the schedule. Selection Sunday's tomorrow, 6:00. Big night. Jesus.
Oh, my gosh. I just walked
in. What in the world?
What was
Gavin!
Gavin!
Gavin! Is Gavin a victim of
Gavin? Gavin, where are you? That's got to be a mascot. That's got to be a
My God.
Gavin's fallen victim to domestic violence over there.
Okay. Selection Sunday's tomorrow. The first four is on Thursday, which is a change up. It's usually on Tuesday. The first round starts 12:00 on Friday. And then Saturday's the first round. So Tennessee could either play Friday or Saturday. And then the second round starts on Sunday and Monday. So let's see, the Sweet 16 is on. Okay, they wait till next Saturday and Sunday to play the Sweet 16. Okay. The Elite 8, this is different, is the following Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
Which is weird. So Tennessee won't play till at least next Friday, but they could play next Saturday.
I think the Vols make the Sweet 16 and get bounced. So I think they win their first two games.
Yeah, I don't know. Looking at bracketology, where'd it go? Tennessee should beat Winthrop. Virginia, if they do play Virginia, would be very tough.
Yes.
And then if they got to the Sweet 16, they're more than likely going to play Baylor. I hardly knew her.
Yeah.
Gavin, you got that one, didn't you?
Yeah.
Baylor? Yeah. I hardly knew her.
I'm going to go back and say that the Vols get bounced in the second round. I'll go Gavin. Second round, Rick.
Yeah, that Virginia game will be tough, especially the way they play defense. If that's who we play, this could totally change. But
right.
A team like Virginia, they're good.
It would almost be better if we – would it be better if we got the 7 seed? Who would we play then?
Well, in that, let's see, the 7 seeds right now are San Diego State, Oregon. Let's see. San Diego State is matched up against Virginia Commonwealth. Oregon's matched up against Georgia Tech. And then in the other two regions, the 7 seed is LSU versus St. Bonaventure, and North Carolina is a 7 seed versus Maryland. They're not going to play that game. Well, Maryland's not in the ACC anymore. Never mind.
Yeah.
Maryland's Big Ten. So, yeah, that's 17. Let's see who the 6 seeds are. Wisconsin and BYU. BYU playing Michigan State. Wisconsin versus UCLA. And Villanova's a 6 seed, which they've got a ton of injuries right now, playing Louisville. And USC playing either Syracuse or Drake. Syracuse would be against Drake in a play-in game.
I don't know. Would you rather be the 7 seed there?
I'd rather be a 5. I mean, I know your game's tough in the second round, but that 7-10 game can get tricky.
I don't know.
We're going to lose it either way.
Oh, boy.
I mean, the only difference is if you're a 7 seed and you win 2 games, you're playing a 2 seed, where if you're a 4 or a 5 seed and you win 2 games, you're playing the 1 seed in the Sweet 16.
Right.
So that's where that comes into play. I think 2 seeds you don't want to be ever is an 8 or a 9. Because you might win 1 game, but you're going to play somebody that's equal to you. You're on the same level. And then if you win, we're likely going to play the 1 seed, unless you're Virginia that year that my idiot rear end and my uncle had tickets. We were in Charlotte watching a bunch of games, and we left. It was late. That was the last game of the night, and we're like, let's just go home. We'll watch the game when we get home. It's Virginia versus UMBC, and of course UMBC is the first 16 seed to win, and we weren't there to see it.
The Golden Retrievers, baby.
Yes. We got home and we got some to-go or something and was eating at the house watching it. And my uncle looked at me and he's like, you've got to be right.
Man, like I said a couple weeks ago, I won't be surprised for this team to go to the Elite 8, and I won't be surprised for us to lose by 20 in the first game. So,
give me Tennessee in the Sweet 16. I don't think they go any further than that, but
right.
I think Tennessee wins 2 games next weekend.
I think a lot depends on if Fulkerson's playing and if he's playing well. If Fulkerson gets to play and scores 10 or 12 and has a couple of big defensive plays, Tennessee is a hard team to beat. But if he's not and we can't hit threes and get in foul trouble, that's all she wrote. Find you a Golden Girls or a Andy Griffith marathon to watch because it's over.
Well, I mean, the good thing is I think Tennessee will be right back in the same spot next year with the recruiting that's coming in. Kennedy Chandler, Jemiah Meshack coming in.
Do you think Kennedy Chandler comes, or do you think he goes straight to the G League?
Well, he has to come. I mean, he can't go straight to the G League.
Yeah, can he not sit out a year?
They have to be removed a year from their high school program.
Right.
Which, I mean, that's that's NBA, is G League sponsored by NBA. So he would either have to sit out a year or come here and play. So he's going to be here. He's all in. If you look him up on Twitter, he's all in on Tennessee. He's been on Tennessee's bandwagon for a while. I've been, watching him from a distance for a while, but he's been on Tennessee bandwagon for a while, and so is the Meshack kid. He may not be as good as Chandler, but I think he's okay. I think he'll be helpful. Plus, they get Corey Walker back next year.
Right. It's almost like Tennessee needs to go after some dudes that are going to be great college players and not so much lottery picks, so we can build some foundation again. You know what I mean? That's the only bad thing about Keon Johnson is he's a great player, but he's not going to be here next year.
Yeah, I mean, Keon Johnson's definitely going. I would like to see – I told Cruz this earlier today. I'd like to see Springer come back. He's good. I think he's had a good year. But there's some things about his game, and he's not nearly as highly rated on the NBA boards as Springer is. I'd like to see him come back for another year. If he comes back and they have Chandler and Meshack come in, plus Corey Walker coming back, and the rest of the guys, of course, I think Pons will be gone. I don't know if Gavin, do you think Fulkerson comes back?
I don't see why Pons wouldn't come back though, just to try to improve. You know, if he comes back next year, works all off season, can average 10 points a game, and have these incredible LeBron James blocks, I mean, that's only going to improve his draft stock, right? And give him a shot. I mean, am I dumb to think that? Like, I don't think he's an NBA player yet, but man, he has the size. You put that boy on an off-season workout regimen, and he just gets bigger, faster, stronger, and more athletic. Why not come back? I mean, even if you're just, somebody off the bench, and what's it going to hurt? I mean, I know he's married and he plays the trumpet and all this other crap, but who cares?
He's a Renaissance man.
I mean, why not come back and, get your McDonald's bag full of cash and just keep playing, baby?
Yeah, no. Sorry, I was getting a message here. No, I think if all of those, if Pons and Fulkerson both come back, and then these two guys come in, and then you've got Corey Walker, who was a 4-star recruit last year, that's coming off the bench. If those all come back, I mean, Tennessee's legitimately top. They should be. If they don't win the SEC, that would be a huge disappointment. I know this year was to some extent, but we also didn't account for Alabama and Arkansas being top 10 teams either, even though we beat Arkansas earlier this year. But if those guys come back, Tennessee's a legitimate top 5 team, maybe even top 3.
Right. Well, what's so sad is, and I'd say up until Christmas or the first of the year, I mean, I felt like Tennessee was a top 5 team this year.
They were.
You had Gonzaga, Baylor, and I feel like we were in that conversation with Michigan, Ohio State, and Texas. It's just so dang frustrating, man. I don't know.
Sounds like a lot of disappointment for me. Can't wait.
It does, man. Ever since that first Bama loss, that sucked. But I feel like the game that really just started us going downhill was that blowout loss to Florida. And I think that's the worst loss of the year, man, because, I mean, they were down 2 or 3 of their best players, right? And then we
had a good win during that stretch, though. We drilled Kansas, who's a top 12 team right now.
Right. And I don't know, man. It's just frustrating.
So Ron Slay, VFL Ron Slay, just tweeted, "Man, that one stings. I will say the ability to play physical in the second half was affected by Bama being in the bonus so early. Shaking my head. I'll take this team playing this way going forward in the tournament." I think he's right on that. And then Devonta Gaines has tweeted, Gavin sent me this, in all caps, "I will get it back. I owe it to my teammates."
There you go.
Kind of feel for him, man. I mean, that is a very – I've never been in that spot, but that has got to be a tough spot. Yeah, just got to be. I mean, the atmosphere you're in, the spot you've not played in 2 hours. I mean, I know it's a free throw. I mean, free throws, I go and shoot free throws. Like if I go run or something at an outdoor court or before youth basketball games, I grab a ball and I'll shoot 20, 30, 40 free throws and I might miss 5 or 6. But that's in a gym with nobody around. It's just me and myself shooting. It's hard. It's difficult, but he's also, like Big Montana said, he's a D1 player, man. You got to make that stuff.
And I try to not dog these guys on like social media and stuff because they're not kids. They are not kids. They're 18 years old. Their peers are overseas fighting in wars. They're not kids, but still, these guys are under a lot of pressure as far as to perform and to provide a source of entertainment. And I don't like, I know a lot of people tweet about JG and stuff like that, and it comes with the territory, but I don't know. If one of these kids ends up hanging himself from a damn, bunk bed in his room, I think a lot of people would feel bad about that. And I'm being serious. Like, it's not a good look. That's why I take all my frustrations out on Barnes. He's a damn millionaire.
Yeah.
I don't care if he loses his job or not. I don't feel sorry for coaches who get
I
fired.
mean, Barnes, and I've said this 1,000 times, and Gavin and Big Montana have heard me say, I love Rick Barnes. He's one of my favorite coaches. Even before he came here, I always liked him. But I was so excited when Tennessee hired him, and I know they lucked into him kind of because Texas got rid of him. But, I mean, the guy's always won, and I thought he would be one of those coaches. I didn't expect Tennessee to be at the level we're at, to be honest, where we're competing for the SEC every year pretty much, except, I mean, last year was a rebuilding year, but Tennessee, he's got Tennessee at a level that we haven't been in since Bruce Pearl was here. I know he's not won the high-profile games like Pearl has, but,
Right.
I mean, he's winning 18 to 22 games every year. And he's got Tennessee basketball in a spot right now where when he came in here, we barely had enough to fill out a team.
What's really hurt the expectations and stuff for your college fans in the SEC is Alabama being able to do it every year. Back in the 2008, 9, or whenever Florida was winning national championships in basketball and in football, Vanderbilt's winning national championships in baseball. Mississippi State's a hot baseball team, going to Omaha. We just see it work everywhere else. Georgia's always in the conversation. Of course, they never win. So, I mean, I feel like, Tennessee is.
That's why I've been so frustrated as a Cubs fan, because when the Cubs in 2015 went to the NLCS and then they went and won the World Series in 2016, you were here watching the game with me, and I think you had left at this point. I was watching one of the post-game shows at 4 a.m, and they said this club and this franchise is set up for a dynasty run because all of their key players were early on in their contracts, and they're all in their early 20s.
Yeah.
And they've not done anything since. They've made the playoffs. Right. They've not done anything since. They had it all laying out there in front of them, and they didn't do it. And I've been so critical of the Cubs franchise. I've not been as critical of Tennessee basketball as I probably should be, but, I mean, the Cubs have absolutely blown it. I don't necessarily think the Vols in basketball have, but they've losing that SEC tournament to Auburn a couple years ago sucked, and then losing that game to Kentucky, which that was a tight game.
Yeah.
And that was two even teams playing each other, and it just didn't go our way, but –
the thing about it is today, though, if Tennessee just turned the ball over 10 times, they likely win that game by probably 8 or 9 points. But, it's one thing to play like when the Vols played Purdue a few years ago. That loss sucked, but those two teams just played great. That was a great basketball game. It's hard to, if you're shooting 85% from the free throw line and you have less than 10 turnovers in the game, sometimes you're going to get beat, man. That's just life. But when we're out here, doing dumb shit like we did today, that's when it's frustrating. Whenever we could have advanced and played either Arkansas or LSU today with a chance to win, to hang a banner, just think of how much different, you wouldn't have thought about those 7 or 8 losses in the SEC if we hung a banner, for a tournament. And winning cures everything. Same way with football. It's like last year with Pruitt, he lost to Georgia State, lost to BYU, but then, ran off 7 wins, got the program back. People were fired up, goes and wins a bowl game. He had it in the right direction, and then crapped the bed this year. But, winning cures all, definitely. And the thing about it is they still have a chance. If you go out and you beat Virginia in the second round, you salvaged the season, you've done something, you made the Sweet 16 with a chance to move on. So, I mean, the jury's still out with these guys. I mean, it's not over yet, but hopefully they make a little noise and I said this last week, I don't think we're going to live out the dream, but sometimes it's nice to be somebody's nightmare. And I feel like we can knock somebody off big, you know.
So one thing good that came out of this is Tennessee saved me some money because I was thinking about going out there tomorrow if we won.
Oh, niece.
And spending a couple $100 on a ticket to a game with 4,000 people in it.
I really wish that someone told me this at work a few years ago, that if I could take all my money that I spent on UT Sports and just gave it to him, he'd give me half of it back and kick me in the nuts, and I'd be way better off. And
yeah, I don't know. Remember when I talked about this not long ago about how much money I've spent on UT athletics since 2009, and it's not as much as some people, but it's a lot to me.
A lot of money, yeah.
I could have done a lot of other things with that money, but
that's why there's a lot of people that spend. If you take a family of 4 to a UT football game or UT basketball game, you're going to spend a couple $100. Then you're going to, pay for parking and pay for, I think we're owed a good product.
Yep.
And I think that's what's frustrating. And people get pissed off, and you got quarterbacks tweeting out, this is our team and all this other stuff. And, buddy, it's not. Like, if the fans weren't in the stands, you'd be doing this for funsies. This would be frat league flag football, and you'd have a couple of 100 people watching you that were your friends, and that'd be it. So
we've been going.
That really ticks me off.
We've been going for an hour here. I'm gonna wrap this thing up. We've got
wrap it up.
We've got 5 listeners in here. So, Gavin, are you still there, Gavin?
I am.
All right. Give us your final thoughts from today and going ahead for the NCAA tournament for Tennessee basketball.
We should have won today. We'll get bounced in the second round. We're in purgatory. We won't ever win anything, basketball or football. It's been fun. Having a great time. About jumped off the bridge. You'll be back for the
podcast.
And got shot at.
You'll be back for the podcast, though, on like maybe Tuesday or Wednesday this week. I think Tuesday, maybe.
I think so.
Gavin, I know a good realtor if you're looking to improve your area of where you live.
I'm still wanting to know. Off the bridge, and then this 18-wheeler stopped. And then got out and shot at me, So
I want to know who's shooting these guns. Like, what is going on in the background?
I don't know. I looked outside and I was like, it's not raining. I'll go outside because my dog's outside. So I take like 5 steps outside. Boom, 5 shots in a row. And I'm like, okay, cool. I guess I'm going right back inside.
That'll teach you, Gavin. All right, yeah. Big Montana, what's your take as we wrap up this show and the SEC tournament going into the big dance next week?
Why not us? Why not today? Vols are still dancing. Let's go out there, play tough, show a little grit, win a couple of ball games, see what happens. You play the game for a reason. Why not us? Also, the Diamond Vols play tonight at 6 o'clock on the SEC Network Plus.
Big winners last night against UNC winners. Greensboro.
That's right. Let's support them boys. Go Vols.
So we'll be back probably – I'll post this episode for everybody to listen to. We'll be back probably early next week. Gavin and I will. I don't know. We'll probably try to do one live on like Tuesday night or something. Preview the NCAA tournament. We'll know where Tennessee's playing by that time. And we'll kind of go from there. But I'm looking forward to see what seed Tennessee is after the tough loss today. I'm thinking a 5 or a 6, 5 at best, 6 at worst. And we'll see who we play and then go from there. It's March, Gavin. You never know what'll happen.
Speaking of March,
I know that we're going to lose. So
speaking of March, if you're planning any big cookouts, with the weather being so nice, quickly, A&B Distributors is a perfect place to buy hamburger meat and hot dogs.
So you're speaking to the guys on the line right now that supports this show from A&B Distributors. They sponsor this show. So hit up Big Montana if you're a restaurant out there listening or know somebody that's running a restaurant, hit them up. They'll help you out.
At least your food can be good, unlike your basketball team.
Hey, man, you got to have some type of quality in your life. It might as well be on your dinner plate.
And we know it's not coming in orange.
Support these local restaurants.
That's right. Everybody go out and tip your bartenders, tip your waitresses this week. They fought hard to keep us in some type of normalcy throughout all this. Support local, man. Ruby Tuesdays is going to make it. Texas Roadhouse is going to make it. Everybody go to Louis and Litton's and Pizza Palace and order some good food this weekend.
We probably will tonight. I know I will.
There you go. Whole orders of onion rings, baby.
Yes. Jalapeno cheese sticks.
Yes.
Yes. All right, Gavin. What's your plans for the rest of the weekend?
Try to not get shot.
We need to get. Have you warned? Does Caitlin know about the gunfire in your neighborhood?
Yeah, she does. She's
okay. So everybody's good. You're just used to. It's kind of like my neighborhood. You're just used to whatever you see by this point.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but
the crazy thing is 1 week Gavin's in their closet doing this podcast, and the next week he's on the side of 640 doing the same.
Yes.
Thing. About to jump off Henley Street Bridge right here. What was I going to say?
I don't know.
Yeah, you better make sure your food's good because them boys in orange will disappoint you. So
hey, maybe we can plan a watch party next Friday or Saturday here at the studios. Get everybody together. Get everybody over here and we can watch the Vols.
I'm going to try to wear a smile this week, so we'll see how that happens, if that works.
Well, Gavin, I'm going to give you a couple days off, and you come back, and we'll talk about we'll get more in depth into the game and talk about Tennessee's bracketology. What's going forward for the tournament coming up. We'll talk about that on Tuesday. We'll give you a couple days off to clear your head. Just kind of get your mind right. And you can come back on Tuesday.
All right, guys. We'll see you.
All righty. All right. Well, appreciate Big Montana and Julian joining us. Like I said, we'll be back next Tuesday. Don't forget, if you're out there, we're having the Section YY8 Bracket Challenge. Join it. It's on cbssports.com. Password is Big Montana.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Make sure you join it. If you do want to enter, Gavin hung up. If you do want to enter, Gavin either jumped, he got shot, or he just hung up. He's tired of it.
Or got hit by 18-wheeler.
If you do want to join the money pool, it's $10 to enter. And if you win the overall pool, you get a $10 gift card of your choice. So join us. All right, that's the end of the emergency podcast. We'll be back on Tuesday, hopefully. So join in on Tuesday night here on podbean.com. Thanks for everybody for joining us. We'll see you guys on Tuesday.